Good afternoon, everyone. AREAA friends, how are you? Oh God, I forgot. Everybody muted. All right. So, well, welcome. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, this morning. It is a very, very much important call because in the last year or so, we all have been experiencing all these hate incidences that you can see on TV, or even though maybe some of you have been personally experiencing it. So a lot of the chapter leaders and a lot of the members been reaching out to us, what AREAA is doing. So to be very honest with you, we have been on top of all these things, and we've been doing a lot, especially the staff been, really making a whole bunch of things going on. So April 28, 29, you see on the screen, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., just a little bit more than 2 afternoons, we are going to come together, and we are going to learn something very crucial and very important. And you do not see this kind of learning experience from any other channel. Okay, not from any other channel, only here in AREAA. And I guess a lot of you has been feeling frustrated, depressed, or don't even know what to do. A lot of times that when our community face challenges, we really don't even know how we would be able to handle that, right? We go here and there, police or whatsoever, seems like going to dead end. We also issued a statement back right after the Atlanta issue happened, right? That was heartbroken for sure. And of course, around us, like NAR, we received support from the National Association of Realtors, from our president, Charlie Hopper. He put together a statement to support us. We received support from the Chicago Association of Realtors, and I believe there are other associations that are all together with us as well. So we are not alone. So ever since COVID, we all understand that, the AAPI community has been, impacted by not just COVID alone, but on top of it, because unfortunately our past president say something that trickled down, and I would have to say amplifying people's hate towards Asian. So we're not happy about it. We cannot allow this to continue happening. So actually, Jim Park, as I say, during a couple of the president's call before, Jim Park shared with us that we should put off our signature event, which is the Global Luxury Summit. Usually will happen every April, but really address what are the impact of COVID to the AAPI community. Nobody really even think of the magnitude of hate crimes like today at the time, right? But since things escalated, it makes it even more important for all of us here within AREAA, or even outside AREAA that are Asian, to really come together and really think of a way how and what we can do to protect our community, and at the same time make some positive change. As I mentioned earlier, that there is no other organization of putting together a summit like this to talk about and address, this issue. Remember the mission of AREAA, all the chapter leaders here. You tell me, what is the mission of AREAA? We are the voice of the AAPI community on what? Housing. Yes, there are people that come to us and ask, hey, this is all social justice issues. What has it to do with AREAA? Why are you guys so up for it? Come on. In a lot of the installation messages I share with you guys, we in AREAA cannot see our community live in fear. When people live in fear and do not even have the right to walk around their own neighborhood with a peace of mind and the sense of peace, not right. That has created a lot of limitation on people's choice on where they wanted to live and grow their family. That's not right. That's our job to voice out. That has a lot to do with fair housing. Do you guys agree? I know that your mic is muted, but tell me, show your video. Let me know whether you agree or no. If majority of the people say no, it has nothing to do with that, it doesn't matter, I don't care, then we put this off. But if you all agree, we have to work together. Remember, the National Convention said, together we are stronger. If we are not united together, there is nothing that we can make any change. If we are like firework going everywhere, there's no change can be made. There are a lot of action items that you guys can all do together. And one of the thing that I think is part of the action item that we will share towards after, you know, the committee share on what this diversity and fair housing summit are. One of the things is that we really need to come in and we all have to recognize what has been going on and have to learn together. And each one of the items, one of the things, why NAR put up all these core ethics, why the federal government has all these discrimination items, how does it impact us? And what are the things that we are facing at the moment? And what are the channels, where are the channels that we can file a complaint or take action against people that do crazy things towards us? So this is what this summit is all about. If you are a practitioner and if you're telling me that you care about the AAPI community, you care about what fair housing is, you care about diversity is important, you have to learn. You have to learn together with us. Otherwise, please sign off now. I apologize, I'm a little bit emotional when it comes to this because I cannot see our community suffer this way in a historical moment. So I want to shut up at this time, but leave the time to our co-chair, Lisa and Fred, to introduce to us what are we spending these 2 afternoons together for. And then after that, I would definitely come back and share with you what are the more constructive and productive action items are. Sounds cool? All right, thank you. So let's go.
Hey everybody, I'm Vanessa Nguyen. I am part of the Greater Denver chapter, and I was asked to co-chair this event because my family was discriminated against in our place of residence. Happened for a couple years, and most recently I've just thrown in the towel and ended up moving somewhere else because my kids and I couldn't take it anymore. But the reason why I accepted this position, I originally actually turned it down to begin with because it's very painful to talk about what's happened over and over again. It's an open wound. But, you know, after Amy gave me another call, I realized that, you know, this is part of making the change, and that even though I feel defeated after just trying to fight this over and over again, I thought that it would be important to share my story, maybe some mistakes that I've made during the process of reporting. But now that I've been through the process, I can help coach other people on what what you can do if you're discriminated against, and how you can form alliances in your state, and how you could take action. And so a lot of this summit is going to be catered towards the different types of fair housing violations, some of the things that the AAPI community experiences in discrimination, but also just a call to empathy and everybody taking a good look at themselves so that we can all be aware that discrimination doesn't just happen to us. We can also discriminate as well if we're not paying attention. And so that's where the change happens, is when people start speaking up, because ever since I started speaking up, I've had so many more people coming forward. And maybe that's just something that's happened in Colorado, but if each of us do that in each of our states, we can then start to make an impact instead of just keep talking about things. It's time to do something now. And so that's why I've accepted this position. It is very painful to keep talking about it, but if I don't talk about it and I don't step up, then, you know, who will? So who will if you don't do it? And I'll turn it over to Fred. I just wanted to share why I accepted that position. And so thank you, Amy, for calling me again and, you know, having me step up to do this.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Amy, and the leadership at AREAA for entrusting this important meeting to me and to Lisa as we try to bring you a vision of what it means to be a fair housing practitioner within the real estate world. It is something that is a part of most of us in the real estate profession, that we believe in fairness and equality in housing, in the ability of people to choose where they want to live without restrictions based on race, age, gender, any of the factors that are protected from discrimination, not just in the law, but in the way we think about our communities and the way we think about an inclusive community. And so this conference is built around that theme that makes us have fair housing be an integral part, not just of ourselves personally, but in the way that we work professionally. And the focus of this conference is not just on how to prevent yourself from doing something that's discriminatory. It's not just on how you report discrimination, although those are very important tools that you need to move forward as real estate professionals. It's also about understanding what fairness and equality means in your relationships with each other, with your customers and clients, and the communities you serve. And based on that, this program will help you really build on that sense of fairness and equality, and will help in your relationships and work with your customers and clients and in your communities. And I just wanted to encourage each of us to think about the importance of fairness and equality in our work, and come to this meeting with an idea to share our stories, an idea to learn and to be empathetic to people perhaps who are different than we are, but have encountered some form of discrimination, to look inwardly at ourselves and examine how we behave in the real estate marketplace. And then lastly, to take action. And that's not just advocacy, it's not just individual action, it's group action, to take action to support fair housing rights for everyone. Thank you.
I think it's my turn, right, Vanessa? All right. So thank you, Fred. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Amy, for that very moving opening speech. Indeed, it is, I think, happening serendipitously that when the executive committee of AREAA National decided to put GLS on hold, and focus on the relevant discourse that's happening within our country beyond just the Black Lives Movement, but to take a look at the impact of COVID within our community. Not just the discrimination and the hate and all of that stuff, but just unraveling the history of the journey of the Asian American and Pacific Islander experience here in the United States, right? A lot of us may not be familiar with some of that story, and we wanted to kind of like bring that to light as well. So as Fred had mentioned, empathy obviously is a very important issue to talk about when we are opening ourselves, opening our hearts and opening our minds with the discussion on diversity, equality, fair housing, and inclusion, right? We need to be able to relate to the other person who's experiencing either discrimination or hate. And that's why we thought we would set the tone by inviting Richard Louis. Some of you might have experienced Richard in previous AREAA National Convention. He was, I think at some point, the host for a fashion show a few years ago. But Richard has been a great supporter of AREAA. He also happens to be a journalist and a broadcaster over at MSNBC. He has a book that's just coming out. In fact, I just received my copy a couple of days ago. It's about the act of selflessness, right? It's enough about me. We are living in a culture that is so self-absorbed, right? Social media obviously doesn't help that because we want to amplify and make ourselves look good. But the book is about him setting aside his personal goals and ambitions because he was going to be taking care of his father who was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I think a lot of us can relate to that, right? Whether it's a parent, whether it's a child, whether it's a spouse or someone that we deeply care about. And we set aside, if it's our career, it's our ambition, it's our education to really focus on this person's well-being, right? And so the act of selflessness right now is what is needed to come together as a community. And we thought, again, to start with that tone would be a great way to just show empathy and caring for each other. And for those of you who have registered, you're going to get a book. I think Carrie and Vanessa, I think the first 250 folks who have registered, and I think we're almost getting ready to meet that 250. You're going to get a copy of the book that is part of your registration. And again, it's a great read. I'm looking forward to completing the book. And so hopefully for those of you who haven't registered yet, it's not just another event. It really is, I think, a life-changing experience that we want all of you, especially those of you on the call, because you're an AREAA leader, to go through. Because as Fred and as Lisa and as Amy had said, this is something that we need right now, is to be educated and informed, because that's part of what AREAA is doing to take action in what's going on with our community. So does that sound okay? All right. So day 2, we also have some lighter topics. Again, looking at our community. For some of you, you've probably visited the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. They're still closed, but the idea is that we would bring the museum to you. We have partnered with the Asian Art Museum to bring 5 or 6 exhibits. I'm not really sure, Carrie. I know we've been looking at really interesting exhibits from the idea behind symbols and numbers within the Asian culture, right? Flowers within Japanese paintings and art and all of that stuff. So you do have a choice of 5 curated exhibits with docents from the art museum. And this is part, I think, no, it's an add-on for the registration. And to make it a little bit much more lively, you are also going, if you register to this event, you're also going to get a box of sake, right? Carrie, is that right? Okay, so again, we don't want for you to miss this. For those of you who attended the National Convention and the wine tasting event, it's going to be so much more, I think, a lot, I don't want to say a lot better than that, because it was the wine tasting with Chapelet was great last year with the wine maker and the owner of the vineyard. But this is a little bit of a different experience because we wanted for people to understand the influence of Asian culture, Asian art in all aspects, right? Not just housing, not just food, but definitely taking a look at the arts as part of the integration within Western culture. So enough about that. I know we have a few more minutes left. So next slide.
And one of the things that's really important as we look at fair housing is to examine what our own biases are and how they impact us in the work that we do and in the lives we live. And one of the things that's really important for us to think about when we think about biases is they're not inherently bad or good. They're part of our way that we have sorted out the world to be able to function in a world that sends thousands and thousands of signals to us every moment. And what we need to understand is when those biases start to impact what we do, how we act, even how we think, we need to be aware of what those biases are and be aware of the impact that they have on us and understand when we need to take action to disrupt those biases. So we have been able to bring Rudhir Kristal to our meeting on this conference, this summit, who will walk us through an implicit bias examination. And this is something that even if you've done it before, it's always redo it. And so I very much encourage you that when you plan your participation in this summit, that you make special care to include this implicit bias workshop. It will set the tone for a lot of the discussion that follows, and a lot of our examination of discriminatory actions that might occur in our transactions. And this helps you see that, oh, those biases that help me navigate life are now interfering with how I treat people, particularly in my professional life, but also in my personal life. So this is going to be an important part of the summit. Thank you.
Hope, I'm going to turn it back to you.
That's me again. Sorry. All right. So day two, we can't just, as Amy had said, we just can't talk about it, right? We need to act on it. And so the third bucket of the program is taking action. What do we do now? We've talked about all of these, and we've taken an implicit bias training. What do we do to empower our community, right? To educate others? And if you've seen the NBC segment a couple of weeks ago, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, you probably recognize Eric Toda. Eric has been very vocal about the hate crimes and discrimination against our community. He happens to be the global marketing over at Facebook. If you haven't read his op-ed on Adweek, it is pretty powerful because his grandfather was a victim of hate crime. So we thought we would go beyond just the real estate community, right? Because for change to happen, everybody has to be part of this. And so we're it's a privilege and an opportunity to hear from Eric on his perspective, personal perspective on this, what Facebook is doing from an enterprise level, from a corporate level. We also have fascinating speaker Minjae Ormus from a company called, I forget. Visible, that's right. It's a telecommunications company. And again, talking about organizations beyond just real estate, right? What are they doing? Because again, it takes the whole village to make changes. And it's great that we've got these speakers lined up. I know we will be confirming a lot more speakers. And so, these are inspirational speakers that we would like for you guys to experience and hear from. Not just from their personal perspective, but also from Fortune 500 corporate responsibility level. So that's the closing general session. All right.
I just messaged everybody, but if you've been discriminated against, feel free to share your stories to National on a short video so that we can begin to compile some stories before the event. So it's a call to action, if something has happened to you and you want to share it.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, actually, that's another action item that we talked about. But then you see the promotion and pricing here. We have this minority myth. AAPI really good at numbers. Can anybody tell me which deal is better? Okay, early bird ending end of this month. What day is today? Today is March 24th. So how many days left? Woohoo, 7 days. So early bird for AREAA member, $29, for non-member, $99. And you knew it for a fact that if we are renewing now, members are only $33 plus the $29 member fee. The total is only $62. So which is a better deal? You tell me. Okay. And then regular rate after April 1st, oh no, March 31st after that, then it will become $49 for member and $110 for non-members. So take advantage of the discount now and make sure this summit is not, as Hope was saying, is not just a summit. This is the summit that nobody else put together to teach us how. Only AREAA. Tell all your friends, the practitioners, no matter whether you're in mortgage, in commercial, in residential, as long as you're in real estate, you have to come in and learn. Equip yourself so that we can fight the battle in a more civilized way. Okay, and then we can, have all the tools to protect our community as well. So, and also the Sake and Asian Art Museum tour is an additional ticket item for $50. So that's an interesting experience. So you might not want it to miss. Is there a limit on that, Vanessa?
No.
So we have unlimited supply of sake. I just heard that, right?
But there is a date, there is a deadline date to get your sake shipment.
Time.
When is it?
April 12th.
April 12th. Okay, April 12th for alcohol. Okay, April 12th. Ooh. Okay, all right. So yeah, so there will be a lot more action item that we would suggest. So are we done with the program introduction?
I would like to make one additional comment.
Please do.
This is something that's not just important for AREAA members. It's important for everyone in the real estate community. So as you reach out to the people that you work with, the sponsors you work with, the local realtor association and others, please encourage participation. One, because of the fantastic deal, you may be able to get more members for your chapter because the net price for a membership is relatively low. But more importantly, for those of you that have relationships with your local realtor association, if they promote this event to their membership, it satisfies a requirement that all realtor associations have to either have or promote a fair housing event during the year. So this is a way that if they promote it to all of their members and help you promote it to all the members, they get a benefit out of it as well. So, but putting that aside, whether you're in the lending field, title, insurance, real estate sales, real estate management, property management, fair housing affects all of us. And these sessions that are here are, as Amy said, are going to be very unique in terms of how fair housing is presented and the information that you'll walk away from. We're looking at sessions that will delve into parts of fair housing that you don't normally see in a conference, such as language, such as how the intersection of gender and race come together. All of these things are being planned for the conference. So I would encourage you to promote this to everyone that you know that is in the real estate world, not just to your AREAA members. Also, we want to see all the AREAA members attend. So make sure that they know that they're putting on the premier fair housing conference for the country right now. So they should be proud and join this. Thank you, Amy, for letting me make that plug.
Absolutely, Fred. You're absolutely correct. So don't miss out, okay? And equip yourself. I always say, realtor or if you're in the industry, this is our job. This is I don't know how you put it. When I have my realtor print, I'm so proud of it. I'm very different from any other real estate practitioner, right? Because we abide by the code of ethics very strict. But at the same time, at this difficult time, if we are not equipping ourselves with resources, with knowledge, we're not doing our community a good job. Everybody. But action item, as I always say, I like action item. Number one, I know that we have been silent, and our slogan said, we are no longer silent, right? So go to the AREAA.org, go to this registration page. You will see that on top, there is a little button say, share your story. I want you to go ahead and reach out to everybody, anybody that you know at some point of time experiencing discrimination or hate speech. Put it there for us. Think about it. If we can collectively gather all these silent stories, when we go to Washington, D.C. and advocate for anything, we can share this pile of untold story. That's powerful. And this cannot be done within the staff. It's all a collective effort. So this is truly the action item to show what it means by together we are stronger. So would you please make sure you know where the button is and type the story. I want real, true story. Don't make up a story for me. Got it? Thank you. You guys are so smart. All right. Number two. There are so many action items. It's a busy morning, ladies and gentlemen. Number two, go to your Facebook. If you want it, you can look for Amy Kong, or you just tap on the frame, the Facebook frame. AREAA, Jess is here, right? Jess is always hiding, okay? Jess is the one that designed all these frames for you. Use it, show it to people. We are stronger, okay? We're not tolerating this, and we are taking action. Number three, in your email, if you want a banner below your email to show that, there are a couple of designs. So Jessica, would you please email all the design to all the chapter leaders so that they can disseminate to their membership to use? Thank you so much. At the same time, chapter leaders, a lot of people at the beginning ask, what is AREAA doing? What you can do. Chapter leader, listen, there are a couple of items that you can do. Number one, go to your local lawmaker. Okay, your city supervisor or whatsoever, your mayor, if you have a relationship, share with them. This is something that they need to take action and make the law change. I was in a clubhouse discussion for 3.5 hours with Lisa Lane, Daniel Dale Kim, and all kinds of stuff. And there is a police officer came to the call, and the police officer said, I'm a nation. I caught that guy. I knew for a fact that he was doing it out from hate, but I cannot prosecute. I cannot put him behind bar. The DA would not prosecute because we don't have that history of hate from that individual. Law has to change, people. So besides AREAA National, gather your story, go Washington, D.C. and advocate. You all can make a difference locally. Number one. Number two, if there is any local event that your community are gathering, encourage the membership to go and participate, but don't force them. It's not something that you can force them, but encourage them, share the information so we can go out and support the community locally as well. Make sense, right? Number three, of course, register for the Diversity and Fair Housing Summit and learn together. So one last very important thing is happening this coming Friday. Hope you're here. Would you please share with us what's going on Friday, March 26th?
Sure. So a couple of months ago, Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York, had issued out a statement to KPAC members and other Asian American-based organizations like AREAA to help with amplify the message about taking action and healing. So March 26th, this coming Friday, is designated to be the action day and the day of healing to stop the violence and discrimination and hate against Asian Americans. I know Vanessa and Jessica and Jazz are putting together all of the assets and all of the visuals that our members can use. You've probably seen it already in some of the social media out there, but we want to do this not just with other associations in KPAC, but we're doing this with other, Fortune 500 and other larger organizations and businesses, and hopefully NAR joins us as well. I know, Fred, you're going to send out hopefully a message to the NAR staff. And we need to, kind of like flood social media, or we need to do something within our chapter if we can gather in person or what have you, just to, again, amplify the message of putting an end to all of this hate. Vanessa, when do we anticipate to send that to our chapter and committee leaders, the assets and all of that
I
stuff?
should be able to get it out today, so they have enough time before
So
Friday.
please, please participate. This is how we take action. This is how we don't remain to be silent. And admittedly, I don't have any social media presence, so I will have to create my social media presence so I can participate in this. And we know a lot of our lawmakers and folks from DC will also be participating in this, and it is such an important day. We're coming together as a community, and a lot of our support outside of the community is also going to we're also going to see that. It'll be evident on Friday. So you're probably thinking, I'm just one person. Well, one person collectively is going to amplify the message. So it is, again, that's the 26th, and look for an email that will come from either Vanessa or Jessica on how you can participate in this particular day.
Thank you, Hope. So I guess there was one thing I wanted to remind everybody on our standpoint. I mean, we try to do hashtag Stop Asian Hate instead of using the hashtag Asian Life Matter. Okay, so Stop Asian Hate hashtag. So thank you. I guess I turn it back to Vanessa, and thank you everybody to really work together and make our community stronger and in a positive way with action items.